Hello there, Minnesota Vikings sports fans. You are listening to the Purple People podcast. My name is Kyle West, and I am accompanied, as always, by Adam Carlson. How are you today, good sir?
Feeling better. I got some of my voice back, so I figure it's about time to talk about some of the stuff that's been happening in Vikings football since I've been, as Disturbed used to say, down with the sickness. Do they still say that? I don't know.
I don't think they're actually together anymore. I think they're on a bit of a hiatus, but
Oh,
if they were, they would probably say that.
I'm sure they still do. Pick up some chicks in the bar or something. Anyway, welcome to, I swear this is the third time I've said episode 97, and this time I believe it actually is. My numbering has been terrible in the past. I apologize for that, but this is episode number 97, The Dark Knight Reisner.
Oh, I know why. Because Alan Reisner is back with the team.
Hey, don't be running my quick hits.
Did I just steal a quick hit from you?
I don't take your material, sir.
Because I don't have material.
So with that, let's go right into the quick hits. I'll save that one so you can act surprised a little bit later on. Actually, I don't think I even have that in my quick hits.
No, you slacker.
Oh yeah, there it is. I just have that many. It's crazy.
Oh. Well, start from the top.
Linebacker prospect Preston Brown will visit the Vikings. I'm all for bringing in as many linebacker prospects as possible, having them work out and compete, because that's one spot that the Vikings will need to see improvement this year.
Me too. Trial by fire. Let's get them in there, work them out, and see what happens, and let someone rise to the top and take the job.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Cordero Patterson competed in a home run derby at a Minnesota Twins game. He ended up beating TC Bear, which doesn't happen too often. A lot of hype went to Patterson's red pants. I didn't see a big deal about it, but guy can wear whatever color pants he wants as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I did see that as well on Twitter. A lot of people were questioning his dress code. Cordero can do whatever he wants. He has more money than most of us, so he's allowed to wear bright red pants out in public.
Sure.
Did you watch the footage of him at the Twins game?
I didn't watch crap. I spent a lot of time in bed.
Rightfully so. Well, I watched the footage, at least what they posted over on Vikings.com, and Cordero is just such an awesome all-around guy. He looked like he was having the time of his life out there. He got to throw out the first pitch. He was part of the home run derby. And then they were talking to him, in the dugout, behind the scenes, whatever, while the game was going on. And one of the actual Twins players hit home run or whatever, big play. I don't know, I'm not that big of a baseball fan. But they did something, and Cordero, stopped in the middle of the interview, and he's like, I really want to go out there and watch the rest of this game and support the Twins, and I like that. He's just an all-around good, fun player to have on the team.
Very cool, very cool.
You see whose jersey I'm wearing tonight, Adam?
Yeah, Randy Moss.
No, this is Cordero Patterson. You can tell because the numbering has the stupid swish on the side of it.
It could just be a newer version of a Troy Williamson jersey. You never know.
Yeah, it could be that, but it's not.
No.
Nope.
Former Eagles safety Kurt Coleman signed with the Vikings. I actually like Coleman. I think he'll bring good versatility to the team. He'll be a good rotational player, a guy that can help out a lot on special teams. I think he will contend for a starting job, but odds are he probably will not win one.
I don't know anything about him, so it would be unfair for me to give any kind of assessment to him.
Yeah, I watched quite a few Eagles games last year, so I got to know a little bit more about him.
Yeah.
That's one of the joys of watching pretty much any game that's on. I know that you had to work through most of them, so that's not much fun.
Is he going to be one of those kind of maybe core special teams players?
He could be, but he will be part of the rotation at safety, especially if one or two players go down injured like what happened last year.
Yeah, definitely.
The renovations to TCF Bank Stadium have begun. They're getting the stadium ready for the Minnesota Vikings. They'll be habitating there at the Gopher Hole for 1 to 2 seasons. So they got to get it ready and have places for fans to sit.
Have we figured out yet whether or not it's a grass or a turf stadium?
It is a turf, as far as I know.
Yeah. Because I seen the photos where they were they were doing something with the turf. I'm assuming they've got to put in some kind of heating elements. I remember reading something about that.
Yeah, I believe they're putting in some heating coils.
Yeah, yeah.
Now the sad news. Offensive lineman Josh Samuda. If you saw his ankle leg injury, it's pretty gross. But he has undergone successful surgery. Things are looking good. He should miss about 9 to 10 months, which could put him on IR through the season, or he could find himself released by the Vikings with an injury settlement. Either way, don't expect him to be a contributor for the Vikings this season.
That's a shame to happen on like they're not even in training camp yet. They're just in like run around in shorts mode still.
Yeah.
And boy oh
His leg
boy.
looked shattered.
Yeah, I don't know. Did you see the actual the tweet that had the video attached to it that
Oh,
someone
yeah.
sent out? That was pretty
Pretty gruesome.
his ankle was just a hanging. And
Yeah.
that's not something you want to see.
Yeah, pretty ugly thing.
Yep.
But happy news for other Minnesota sports fans because Gophers safety Brock Vereen is scheduled to visit the Vikings. Minnesota sports fans should be going nuts right now. I can hear them right now. There they are. Oh, yeah.
I like the fact that they Rick Spielman will give tryouts to the local Minnesota guys. You know, someone like Adam Thielen, they'll bring him in, and hey, he ends up making the practice squad. So
Right.
it's cool that they bring in the local guys and let them give them a shot, see what they can do.
To me, Vereen is an underrated commodity in the draft. A lot of people are seeing him as a late round prospect. I see him as a guy that is more valuable than that. He could easily be a mid round pick. So hopefully the Vikings are doing their due diligence and that they can see if he'll be a fit in Minnesota.
That was a Leslie Frazier word that you just used.
Yeah, due diligence.
It was.
Gotta do due diligence.
Every single press conference, he would use that word, and I hope to never hear Mike Zimmer say it. I don't want to hear him talk about that. I don't want to hear him talk about having to review game film.
So we were talking about linebackers a little earlier, and the Vikings claimed one from waivers, and that was Terrell Manning of the Chargers.
Mm-hmm.
Vikings fans may remember him from his time with the Green Bay Packers previously. So that adds more fuel to the fire from people saying that the Vikings are just the cast-off Packers.
Well, you know,
But
the
Manning
circle.
is a decent linebacker, so he could be a contributor. Hopefully he will be.
It's the circle of life in the NFL for players
sure.
that hit multiple teams. You know, there's only 32 of them, so.
Gotta land somewhere.
Yep.
Like our last guy who spent 2 years in Jacksonville and then came back to Minnesota, Mr. Alan Reisner.
Mm-hmm. Boy,
Figured you'd have a lot to say about him.
I hope for the sake of Alan Reisner that they don't sign him and then try to unsign him and sign him again, because that was the story of Alan Reisner's career as a Minnesota Viking.
Well,
I'm happy
things will
to
be
see him back
different
with
this time
the team.
around because he either has to make the 53
Yeah.
or be cut because he did start games in Jacksonville
Mm-hmm.
and he found game time, so he will have to be a regular roster time player, and he will see competition from Chase Ford, Red Ellison. He won't see much competition from Kyle Rudolph because he should pretty much win the job.
You know,
But
Kyle Rudolph has that number one spot, but well, like Zimmer said, he wants everyone to earn their roles, including Adrian Peterson and Kyle.
exactly, you have to do due diligence.
Yeah, due diligence. It's the word of the show. I'm glad to see Alan Reisner back on the team. He was a guy that I liked. Already a better signing than John Carlson.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, it's true.
We have our information for next week's show already. Isn't that great?
It is.
April 22nd, the NFL schedules will be released. We will know the times, the dates, the opponents. I can't wait.
Yeah, that'll be fun. We'll be able to do a little bit of an actual schedule breakdown show again. Those are always fun. I like doing
It
that.
is.
Uh-huh.
It's hard to do before the draft and before a lot of the cleanup after free agency and the rosters are narrowed down.
Uh-huh.
But still, it's fun to think, and I like trying to figure out to see if there are any games I can make. because I do enjoy watching the Vikings live in person, and I bet you at TCF it's just going to be a very different experience than
Hmm.
the one that I had at the Metrodome.
Yeah, I'm already thinking and planning about it as well too. I wanna try to go early on in the season, just because I don't want to sit outside in the cold. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't want to do that. But maybe if the team is doing incredibly well, uh, playoff team, yeah, I'll go sit outside in the cold. But if they're kind of farting around, stinking up the joint, like I am not gonna sit outside in Minnesota in the winter and watch the Vikings. Probably take some flack for that one for saying that, but just keeping it real.
I think that's kind of the definition of a fair weather fan.
No, that's the definition of someone who doesn't like the cold.
Exactly, weather.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I see what you did there. Nice little pun.
Oh yeah, I'm good at those.
Yeah.
Didn't take long. Another Vikings player already steps up and says they love Mike Zimmer's upfront style. This time it is newly reacquired Jasper Brinkley. I bet you it is so different in that locker room environment now with Zimmer's style compared to Frazier's style. It would be so interesting to talk to some of the veterans in the locker room if they would give candid answers about what the big differences are, because I bet you it's night and day.
Yeah, it makes you kind of wish that someone like Jared Allen would have been, maybe in a situation to be with the team, because he would have given a pretty straightforward answer
Oh,
about
sure.
someone like Mike Zimmer. I'm sure guys like Adrian Peterson and whatnot, they'll give decent enough answers without putting too much of a PR spin on it, but still.
Oh, sure. Former Vikings quarterback news, Josh Freeman has signed with the New York Giants. Out of all the places that I thought that he might land, that was the absolute last that I would have ever guessed. After the New York Giants defense just had a complete field day with him during his one very unprepared start with the Vikings.
Well, maybe I don't know. I don't know why the Giants signed him.
I just don't know.
Yeah, I literally don't know. I'm at a loss for words for why they would. I guess maybe he's an improvement over. I think they had Curtis Painter, and I don't remember who their third string guy was underneath Eli. Like, he's a little bit of a veteran presence, but he doesn't strike me as like a locker room leader,
No.
veteran quarterback who's gonna help groom your younger
Eli
talent.
Manning doesn't really need much. Well, he needs a lot of help, but
Yeah, but
he's been struggling pretty bad.
I was just thinking more in terms of like locker room leader who can help out, your rookies and younger players, mentor role. Like that's not
I'm not
Josh.
sure Freeman is.
That's not Josh Freeman either. So, training camp body. I
Yeah,
don't
maybe.
know. I don't know. Like,
Maybe they're doing exactly what the Vikings did and took a waiver on his potential and are going to see what he's got.
because he's got talent. We've seen flashes of that talent in
Yeah.
Tampa Bay, and I understand why the Vikings gave him the shot. I don't understand why they started him when they started him, but that's a whole nother debate in and upon itself. So no,
Absolutely.
I'm not surprised that some other team decided to take a chance on him, take a more up close look at him. And I always did feel that he was going to go somewhere with an established quarterback in front of him. Somewhere like the Giants, where they got Eli, where he can come in and you don't have any kind of pressure for him to start.
Right.
Yeah.
And my final quick hit. Goodbye, Metrodome. The final remains were hauled away today. It is time to see the construction of the new building beginning. And I can't wait for it to get up.
I was over on Vikings.com just this morning looking at the live webcam of the spot where eventually there will be a building being constructed.
Yep.
And right now there's not a whole heck of a lot of activity going on
No.
that webcam, but a couple months down the line, maybe when they actually start doing something, it'll be worthwhile to check out.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
So do you have anything for this week's show?
Well, I had an interesting little bit that I wanted to just kind of ask your opinion on because it's something as we get closer and closer towards the draft,
Draft.
it really starts to bug me when players inexplicably either fall or rise up in the charts for no
Okay.
apparent reason. And the only thing that I can think is that everyone's been talking about the draft for so long that you reach a point where you go, you know what, I'm tired of talking about this guy. I want to talk about another guy. Therefore, he's suddenly a first round prospect, and the guy that used to be a first round prospect is all of a sudden back into the second round. I'm talking about Teddy Bridgewater.
I don't
Because
understand it.
are you reading the same reports that I am, where now all of a sudden Teddy Bridgewater has fallen all the way to the second round?
This is from people that must not have watched him play any college ball.
I I can't explain how all of a sudden just the guy that it's like, hey, he's a top 3 pick to a top 10 pick to now all of a sudden, well, second round.
Don't get me wrong. If he falls to the second round and the Vikings get him in the second round, I'll be doing a dance that they probably won't even allow on YouTube. So I'm just saying that
Yeah, totally.
the further back he gets pushed, the happier I'll be if the Vikings can either trade up or down and grab him, and if he just starts free falling. Because the Vikings have been spending a lot of time with him. They brought him in. They've kept him over a couple nights. They're going to bring him into the 30 event. Really, he's almost already made a home in Minnesota. It's crazy.
Yeah. I guess I just don't understand how what exactly could have happened in the last couple weeks to supposedly make a player's stock fall that much. Like if you liked a guy before, say for him totally messing up a combine,
Getting
getting arrested, just being horrible in, the player team meetings, whatever they do with him. I don't get how someone could potentially fall that much. Other than
No.
just,
Here's my theory. Right now, there's so much not going on that there's so much attention and drama and media, just attention being put on silly things like pro days and Wonderlic tests.
yeah. Or
And really, are these things major factors? You've seen quarterbacks come in with really low Wonderlic scores and just be very successful. You've seen quarterbacks come in with insane Wonderlic scores and just not be able to play at the NFL level. It's funny how these sticks that are used to measure players have moved from being a piece of the puzzle, a small piece of the puzzle, to being such a large piece when there's nothing else really to focus on right now. I mean, right now, since it's the off season, nobody's going back and watching game footage and saying, hey, watch this guy. Look at his instincts. It's, how is he throw? He threw in pads at his pro day? That's fantastic.
yeah. Or he didn't throw in pads, or he said he was going to, but then he didn't. Or I don't know about you, but I got.
Or, oh my God, he didn't wear gloves. He sucks. Let's get him in the
That
third
was
round.
exactly what I was going to next, Adam. I got so sick and tired of hearing about Teddy Bridgewater wearing gloves or not wearing gloves, and how that's going to affect him in the future. It's like, this is not a story.
No.
Like, it's a little bit of a, gee, I wonder why, if he played for, the bulk of his college career with him on, kind of why he chose to go his pro day without him. But that's just like a little footnote thing, and to me, it got blown into a big first page headline, like Teddy Bridgewater's gloves.
Do you want to hear my absolutely terrible theory?
Sure.
My theory is he wanted to stink it up kind of bad so that he wouldn't be taken by Jacksonville early in the draft. And so that you'd fall a little bit to a team that was a little bit better and think, oh, okay. No offense, Jacksonville.
I've always wondered about that. About, like, a really good football player, like someone like Andrew Luck, absolutely lucked out in the fact that he got to go to the Colts.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome for him. But I ever wonder if deep down, if like a guy who knows that I'm going number one and I'm going to a team that's just awful, like Jacksonville or like Cleveland,
Yeah, could you
and
imagine if
I
Blake Bortles goes to Oakland?
yeah,
What's his chance to succeed there currently? It's close to zero.
or
And all these guys are saying, okay, this guy's a bust, this guy's a bust, and they don't even know the system that they're going into, or the talent surrounding them, or even the coaching staff that's there to help them. These are so many contributing factors just to label someone an absolute bust. I understand this is going into my rant that I was
okay,
going to do later on,
okay.
by the way. If you see a player who lacks some qualities or skills that you think it takes to succeed, that's cool. You have a reasoning as to why you believe that player will not succeed. But when you say, "Oh, I just have a gut hunch," or "he sucks," and that's your only defense is he sucks, or you make up cool nicknames for him, you know, like I've seen Boy Zell, that's one, because I guess he's not a man. I guess I don't know.
Okay.
I've seen Deadhead Ted, because apparently he isn't as expressionative as people would like him to be. I don't know.
It gets weird this time of year, don't it?
It gets very weird.
Like
I mean, such small things just get picked and picked and picked.
I hit a little. No, I've hit draft burnout at this point. I'm pretty much tired of hearing about the potential flaws or whatever of all these players. I just want the draft to get here so that we can get, hey, these are the guys, these are our new Minnesota Vikings. Now I can spend all this time researching every single one of them and forming an opinion based on actual game tape.
Well, here's what I love right now is that on the Viking Age, I've been doing those draft profiles, and right now I'm working on guys that are projected late second, third, or fourth round picks.
Uh-huh.
And these are guys that are not being talked about, but yet have really interesting stories and could be really big contributors on teams. They could be the late round stars. These are the guys that should be getting a lot more attention right now, and not just, oh well, it's Johnny Manziel and Teddy Bridgewater and Blake Bortles. It's their show. And here's Clowney. He's not working out at workouts anymore. It's just I'm tired of hearing about the same people.
Me
Change
too.
it up a bit. Is it bad that I miss hearing about Michael Sam?
A little bit.
Like every once in a while I'm watching ESPN and they're talking Manziel Bridgewater, Bortles. It's like, okay, what about that guy that you were talking about a big deal about a little while ago? What happened there? That's how
I
flash
think
in the
it's funny.
pan and flavor of the week goes.
Yeah, I think it's funny that all of a sudden here's a name that I have not heard spoken about at all until today over Twitter, when all of a sudden people are like, "Hey, Tom Savage."
Oh yeah,
Did you catch any? I don't know how active you are on social media.
I'm familiar with Tom Savage.
Yeah, his name all of a sudden is popping up. It's like, now wait a minute. No one's been talking about Tom Savage at all. And all of a sudden, he's coming up. Like, what did he do to improve his stock?
Well, if he was like Fred Savage's brother, I could see it a little bit, but
I thought maybe Randy Savage.
oh, okay, all right.
Macho
I
Man
wonder if
ref.
Fred Savage and Randy Savage are related.
Probably
That's
not.
something I could wiki.
I bet there's some bizarre fan fiction out there that.
Oh yeah, there's got to be. But yeah, I mean, if you're tired of all that, please just head over to the Viking Age and check out some of my write-ups on the later round prospects, because if you're as tired of hearing all the stuff you've heard over and over and over again, getting dragged into the ground, and want something a little bit fresh and new, check it out, join in, comment. I'm always checking the comments on my articles and replying to people if I feel it's appropriate. But hey, I understand that first round is where a lot of people believe that the big difference makers are made. And it's normal for people to want the best for the future of their squad, but there's times that you just have to rely on your team to make the best decision. I mean, you can have your opinion, But in the end, does your opinion even really matter?
No.
No.
No. Mine don't.
I mean, I'm not a Blake Bortles fan, but if the
Yeah.
Vikings draft Bortles at 8, I'm going to support him.
For a little bit.
Same way I supported Ponder.
Yep.
I didn't like the pick, but I'll support it. And that's the way that I think fans should be. And sure, they can be outraged for a little while, but you got to calm down and remember. Sometimes it's hard for me to remember that it's just a game. But it is. It's just a game. And that's all I have for this week. Do you have anything else?
No, I think we're getting a little ranty and long-winded here at the end of the
All
show,
right.
so that's probably a good sign to end it. When we start talking about Tom Savage and
Savage.
Savage.
Ben Savage and Randy Savage.
Yeah.
But all right, I'd like to thank everyone for listening. Check us out on Facebook and Twitter. Check me out on the Viking Age. If you like The Walking Dead, check me out on Undead Walking. I don't know if I've gotten to plug that on here yet. I figure I might as well. I'm a big Walking Dead fan, and the show is fantastic, so check it out. And otherwise, I'd like you all to stay classy, Minnesota.